What is going on, Cocoa Puffs? Welcome back to the official squat checklist. These are some mistakes you need to be avoiding if you're all about that squat life. Even if you're not about the squat life, these are things you should know so you can be annoying and tell your friends to stop making these mistakes. So I'm going to ask you this. What's your goal when you squat? Is it to get stronger legs? Is it to grow your booty? Is it to lose weight and get toned? Is it to look good naked? Is it to stay active? Is it to feel strong and confident? Is it to fix your credit? Wait. Who? It doesn't matter what your goal is. There are some basic things you need to do when you are squatting. Otherwise, you will pay a very high price, and a high price indeed it is. For example, if you're not squatting correctly, you are literally preventing your body from doing something it was designed to be doing. Have you ever seen a baby squat or a toddler squat? It is a sight to behold. These little people can do amazing things with their bodies, and they are a perfect example of things that we technically should be able to do, but we can do our best. And if you're not allowing your body to do the things that it is naturally designed to do, the consequence of that is that you just generally have a lower quality body. And we're not about that low quality lifestyle, okay? Amen? Amen. Also, if you're not squatting correctly, you are literally, read my lips, literally wasting your time. You won't see the results you need to see and the results you deserve. Who really has time to waste on working out? I have time to waste on Netflix, but I don't have time to waste on working out. So you gotta listen. This is some good stuff I have for you here. The reason why squats are so important to get correctly is because they use almost every single muscle in your body. Of course, they use your entire thigh area. Everything gets used if you're doing your squats correctly. They hit your booty, they hit your legs, your calf muscles, your feet are involved, your core technically should be involved if you're doing it correctly. Your back is involved, your chest is involved. Depending on the type of squat you're doing, your arms are involved, your shoulders are involved, your brain is involved, your heart is involved, and it is just everything. Of course, it targets more parts with more intensity than others, but the point is a squat is an efficient exercise to do if you do it correctly. Have I emphasized this point enough? Okay, I think I have. The other thing too is, honestly, listen, with squats, there's a high risk of farting, and I can't help you with that. It just is what it is, okay? Before I go any further, I just want to remind you, if you haven't gotten my 30-minute lower body workout that I'm making available to you for free for a limited time, I strongly advise you to take advantage and go get your copy because, depending on the stage of my PMS, I may or may not be taking that video down. You just never know. So go get yours, enter your email, do the thing, get your workout. So I know the first thing you're wondering is about your knees. And even if you weren't wondering about your knees, now you are because I've planted that seed in your head. It's kind of like when I start singing an annoying song and then it's stuck in your head because I'm all about that bass, No trap. Sorry. Focus. Okay. So now you're wondering about your knees, and this is the first mistake we're going to be talking about in this video. If you have wobbly knees, if your knees are hurting, if you just have a feeling you're doing something wrong with your knees when you're squatting or your back hurts, then you need to really listen up. And if you don't have any of those issues, still listen up because it will help you prevent those issues. So I'm just going to throw in a quick test, a hack, a trick that you need to implement into your workout routine before I talk about the solution to this problem of wobbly, hurting knees and a back hurting because you're not doing something correctly with your squats. So that hack is to do your squats in front of a mirror. If you work out at home, this is very easy to do. Get yourself an affordable mirror from somewhere and just do your squats in front of the mirror and pay attention to your knees. If you see that you are basically doing the butterfly while doing your squats, you are guilty, my friend, guilty of this mistake, but no worries. There's no judgment here. I'm just here to bring you the facts and help you solve your problems. Do you know the butterfly? If you're around by a certain date, you know the butterfly. Moving on to the next issue, let's do a little bit of a pop quiz here. What are two things I always say in my workouts? If you have done any of my workouts, there are two things I am always saying. Yes, Susan, you got that right. I always say keep your core engaged. And I always say make sure your knees don't go too far past your toes. Why? John in the back, why are you even in this class watching this video? This is a video for ladies. Okay, Janet. There we go. Exactly. There's a reason I say these two things. Because this video is about squats, I'm going to focus on the second thing, which is to make sure your knees don't go too far past your toes. Some other trainers will tell you your knees shouldn't go past your toes at all. Here's the deal. Actually, I'm going to hold the deal for later. And instead of telling you the solution, I just want to quickly mention two quick things, which is number one, there are two types of squats where this mistake of not being sure about how far your knees should go past your toes should not be occurring would be air squats and wide stance squats. Okay. Why? Because these are two types of squats that literally everybody should be able to do. If you're not able to do them right now because of an injury, age, condition, peanut butter, whatever the reason, don't worry. It's something to aspire to. One test or hack or trick that you can do to figure out if this is an issue that you need to keep in mind is to look at your body. You can look at my body. You can see that I am about 70% legs. I have a short torso and naturally long legs for days. If you have a body like mine with long legs, it will be physically, biomechanically impossible to squat most of the time without your knees going just a little bit past your toes. So if you're like me, or you just have long legs, even if you also have a long torso, stop stressing about getting this part of your form perfect to the point of knees don't go past the toes at all. It is fine if your knees go past just a little bit. I'm not telling you to tip forward. I'm saying just a little bit is not going to hurt you. There is an important solution you also need to keep in mind with this particular item. I'll get to that in just a moment. Now you're probably wondering, okay, I got the knee thing down. What about my feet? There are a million things I could say about your feet. First of all, please go get a pedicure. You deserve it. Just do it. Secondly, stop going on your toes when you squat. Just don't do it. There are a million things I could say about this, but just understand that this is not a thing that you should be doing. For this one, it's so straightforward. I'm just going to give you the solution right away. And that is just don't go on your toes. You saw that coming, right? Okay, good. Now, let's talk about the solutions that I haven't yet talked about, going back to the first item on our checklist, which is wondering about your knees. If you're doing the butterfly knee thing, here's your solution to that. You don't want your knees to be wobbling when you do your squats. You don't want your knees to be caving inward, and you don't want them to be caving outward. There are a couple of things you can do to resolve this. The first is to not add weights to your squat until you get your form right. This is a very common mistake because of Instagram and how, the nature of fitness is right now. Everybody wants to lift weights, which is great. However, lifting weights is not the starting point if you have this issue. Get your form right first before adding any type of weights. This includes dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, anything that has bell in it. Just don't do it. Focus on getting your form right with body weight. It will help you. Number two thing you can do to help your knees with this issue is to strengthen your quads. What are the quads? That's the juicy part of your thigh, the part where your baby is going to sit. You know what? Baby could mean a lot of things to a lot of different people, so I'm just going to leave that in this video. Interpret that as you like. But strengthen your quads. How do you do that? How do you get thick thighs, strong thighs that can crush watermelons? I'm getting carried away again. Number one, you can strengthen your quads by taking the stairs. Also, you can strengthen your quads by going slow when you squat instead of speeding through your squats, unless, of course, you are doing speed squats. But with most variations of squats, simply doing them slowly and really focusing on thinking about your thighs as you do it will help you to get stronger quads. I know it sounds very woo-woo, that whole mind-muscle connection thing. If you're a beginner, it makes absolutely no sense. But it's one of those things that when you do it, it makes so much sense. And then you start to be an evangelist and you start telling all your friends about the mind-muscle connection. So do that. The other thing you can do with the knees wobbling is to experiment with wider stances and your toes pointed out when you do your squats. Wider stance squats are generally easier to do than narrow stance squats. What do I mean? Wider stance just means that your feet are wide. So many innuendos in this video. Comment below if you're catching them all. It's not intentional. Narrow stance squats are squats where your feet are closer together. This is why something like a closed squat can be extremely challenging to do, even though there's really no resistance other than your body weight involved in that movement. Moving on to the second item in our checklist. This is where I talked about the two things I always say in my workouts, especially the part about your knees not going too far past your toes. And here's a solution to this one. A simple thing you can do is to hinge your hips back before you go down in your squat. This is what I mean whenever I tell you to pretend you are sitting back into a chair, pretend you're sitting back into a toilet. When you're doing those things, you toot your booty out and then you go down. That's the correct way to do these squats. If you remember to hinge your hips back before you go down, chances are your form is good enough and you don't have to be stressing about where your knees should go and how far past your toes they're allowed to go. This is going to be heresy to a lot of you, but I'm not making up the rules. I'm just the messenger. The last item on our checklist was the thing with your feet. And I mentioned that you need to not go on your toes. But here's a thing you can do. Here's a test, a hack, a trick, whatever you want to call it, whereby you can just solve this once and for all. And that is to do your squats while wearing socks or bare feet. What this does for you is that it helps you to be more aware of what your feet are doing. Sometimes when you're in these shoes that are super duper padded, you can, forget about what your feet are doing. You just feel comfy and comfortable and cute and you're not thinking about it. But when you are barefooted or wearing some socks with holes in them like mine, you are more aware of what your feet are doing, and this will help you to avoid just going on your toes. The other thing you want to do is make sure that your heels and your toes are making full contact with the floor. If you are keeping it in the back of your mind that your heels and your toes must make full contact with the floor, it is literally impossible to be on your toes. This is a very simple cue that I want you to always have at the back of your mind when you're doing your squats. And speaking of cues, I probably don't even have to tell you that my workouts have some of the best cues to help you get all these things right in real time as you're doing your workout, so you don't have to store all this information in your mind. So if you haven't done so already, get your free workout while it's still available. Don't say I didn't tell you, sis. Get your free workout while it's still available. There will be a link in the description box, also in the cards. I'll see you in my next video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already.